Hello and welcome back to Classic Times. Today I'll be going through stage 17 of the Cambridge Latin course and I'll be explaining the topic of the genitive case. Okay, let's begin. The genitive case. So in Latin, the genitive case denotes possession, i.e. to whom something belongs. It's translated by the word of, or alternatively, using an apostrophe. However, this is slightly more challenging because you need to make sure that you place the apostrophe in the correct position relative to the S. So, for example, the house of the boy is also the same as the boy's house, and the house of the boys, plural, is the same as the boy's house. Notice how the apostrophe goes before the S in the singular form and after the S in the plural form. And for an example of the genitive case in a sentence in Latin, multi naves ad portum Alexandriae navigabant. This means many ships were sailing to the port of Alexandria. And notice how Alexandriae has been translated as of Alexandria. Now let's have a look at the genitive endings. So in the first declension, the singular form ending is ae, and the plural is arum. In the second declension, the singular form ends in an I, and the plural ends in aurum. And in the third declension, the singular ends in is, and the plural ends in So if we use the examples of the noun puella in the first declension, it would be puellae in the genitive singular and puellarum in the plural. In the second declension, servus would be servi in the genitive singular and servorum in the genitive plural. And finally, Leo would be Leonis in the singular form and Leonum in the plural form. So now that we've covered the genitive case, I would just like to draw your attention to one potential confusion. So if you have a look at the full noun table below, you may notice that some of the genitive endings are the same as the endings of other cases. For example, in the first declension, the genitive singular, dative singular, and nominative plural forms of puella all end in ae. So puellae can be translated as of the girl, to or for the girl, or the girls. So the only real way of distinguishing which one is the correct form in a sentence is to simply use context. Now let's have a look at some more vocabulary. A means from. An animus is a spirit or soul. Appropinquare means to approach. An ara is an altar. Bene means well. Benignus means kind. Diu is for a long time. A faber is a craftsman. Facilis, easy. Graviter means seriously. Huck, here or to this place. An insula is an island. Invitus means unwilling. Itaque, and so. Maximus, very big. Negotium, business. Numquam means never. Pauci means a few. Pervenire means to reach. Quondam means once or one day. Recipere means to take back. and resistere means to resist. Okay, so now that we've covered some grammar and vocabulary, let's have a look at a few examples. Quintus Narwem Mercatoris vidit. Quintus saw the ship of the merchant, or the merchant's ship. Ad portum Alexandriae mox pervenimus. We soon reached the port of Alexandria. In villa Barbili erant multi servi. In the house of Barbilus there were many slaves. So notice in all of these sentences how the genitive forms have been translated either with the word of or with an apostrophe. But my preferred way is with of, because you don't have to worry about getting the apostrophe in the right place. Right, so I'd now like you to have a go at a few examples yourself. So pause the video and have a go at translating these. Now let's go through the answers. Quintus per multitudinem servorum contendit. Quintus hurried through a crowd of slaves. Milites per vias urbis procedebant. Soldiers were advancing through the streets of the city. Juvenes ad tabernam mercatoris contenderant. The young men hurried to the shop of the merchant. So if you got all three of those right, you should be very proud of yourself. That's excellent work. If you got one or two of them right, that's still really good going, especially with this new case that we've covered. Well done. So just before we finish, let's have a look at the passage Tumultus 1 from the CLC. Tumultus meaning riot. In villa Barbili diu habitabam, ad urbem cum servo quondam contendi, quod clementem visitare volebam, ille tabernam prope portum Alexandriae possidebat, servus qui me ducebat, erat puer Aegyptus. I was living in the house of Barbilus for a long time. One day, I hurried to the city with a slave, because I wanted to visit Clemens. That man was possessing a shop near the port of Alexandria. The slave, who was leading me, was an Egyptian boy. In urbe erat ingens multitudo, quae vias complebat, mercatores per vias ambulabant, et negotium inter se agebant, feminae et ancillae tabernas frequentabant, tabernarii feminis et ancillis stolas ostendebant. So, in the city was a huge crowd, which was filling the streets. Merchants were walking through the streets, and were doing business with each other. Women and slave girls were crowding the shops. Shopkeepers were showing dresses to the women and slave girls. Multi servi per vias urbis curribant, difficile erat nobis per vias ambulare, quod maxima erat multitudo. Tandem ad portum Alexandriae pervenimus, plurimi Aegypti aderant, sed nullos Graecos videre poteramus. Many slaves were running through the streets of the city. It was difficult for us to walk through the streets, because the crowd was very big. At last, we reached the port of Alexandria. Very many Egyptians were present, but we could not see Any Greeks? Puer postquam hoc sensit, anxius inquit, melius est nobis, ad villam barbili revenir, ad tabernam clementis, ire non possumus. Viae sunt periculosae, quod Aegypti irati sunt, omnes Graeci ex hac part urbis fugerunt. The boy, after he noticed this, anxiously said, "It is better for us to return to the house of Barbilus. We are not able to go to the shop of Clemens. The streets are dangerous because the Egyptians are angry. All of the Greeks fled from this part of the city." Minime, puero respondi, quamquam Aegypti sunt irati, ad villam redire nollo. Longum iter iam fecimus, paenae ad tabernam clementis pervenemus. Necesse est nobis corte procedere. No, I replied to the boy. Although the Egyptians are angry, I do not want to return to the house. We now made a long journey. We almost reached the shop of Clemens. It is necessary for us to proceed cautiously. Okay, so we've now covered stage 17 of the Cambridge Latin course. So let's quickly summarise. The genitive case. The genitive denotes possession and is translated with the word of, or alternatively with an apostrophe. But if you want to avoid slight difficulty, I would recommend using the word of. And just as a reminder of the endings, there is a quick summary table on this slide. But thanks for joining me, and join me in my next video where I'll be covering stage 18 of the Cambridge Latin course.